Welcome back to 8 Point Acres. My goodness, it's only been a couple of weeks, but it feels like forever since I've been out here. We have got some warm weather, and I'm officially going to call it. It is spring. It's 65 degrees. This snow is melting quickly. Just gorgeous out here. I cannot believe how warm 65 degrees feels. I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. I feel like I got too much clothing on. Goodness gracious. New addition that I brought out while farting around at the Artisan Center looking for ways to occupy myself in the deep, dark winter of Michigan. We had a real winter this year, didn't we? I got a bag target. Found this rascal on Facebook Marketplace, and I just put together with some of my leftover scraps a little stand, maybe keep some of the sun and rain off the top of it. But that'll provide us from here back to the porch with a cold beer in your hand. Oh, I don't know, 20, 25 yard shot, which is just right for archery. So that'll be a nice addition out here to practice a little bit. But today's project, again, with spring as the theme, is gonna be to plant some apple trees. I got an apple tree guy down in Sparta, Michigan. Nice young gentleman farmer who raises, he's an orchardman, and he actually makes his own, or plants and grafts is what I'm trying to say. He grafts his own trees. So I've got Honeycrisp, a dozen of them there. We're gonna put 4 in the each in the 3 food plots. So that's today's project. But man, it just feels so good out here. Just, I can't tell you how good the first day of spring is what I'm gonna call it, I suppose, feels. Goodness. So we made it to the big food plot. This is the first stop. And I've got 4 trees out here. I got one here and there. I'm on the north end of the food plot. And the key to planting these things is you need to find where the grafted tree meets the rootstock. And you need to make sure that this is about 2 to 3 inches right there. In fact, where it's wet and where it was in the ground before. That's where you want the soil contact to me. You want this above. If we get too much of this, the grafted tree into the dirt, we'll begin to get, it will end up with a root system from this tree, and we want the root system from the grafted tree, which is a dwarf. If we bury it too deep, this will develop roots, as I'm told, and I'll get a tree that's way too big. I don't know if that's the end of the world, but that's just what we're told. Get about 3 inches below, so right about here. Now if we take a peek at the depth there, we can see down at the bottom, I'm well underneath that grafting section, and I left the area a little bit lower. Thereby, if I water this, I can have a little pool around the tree itself. That's the basic concept. There's no rocket science here. Just get the rascals in the dirt, and you want them in the dirt before they dry out. So I'm going to cut this short and get these other 4 in, or other 3 in right here. Isn't that slick? I got 4 trees planted. One here and one there. You can see one there and one over there. I'll make kind of a, I don't know, a little U-shaped bend here at the end of the food plot. But today's getting the trees in the dirt. I got a dozen to plant, and that's about as much fun as one guy can expect to have in a day. But tomorrow, or the next day, probably tomorrow, I got a bunch of pallets, and these are trees I put in last year. And those pallets, 4 of them, erected around the stem, keep the wildlife off. And I say wildlife, I mean deer. Not gonna keep the bunnies off, but I don't think the bunnies cause us the grief the deer do. So hopefully these things don't get hammered in one night. I highly doubt it. But anyway, 4 down, 8 to go. Also, bad news on the bees. I got a hive full of honey, which is good, but there's no live bee in it. So, I don't know. I'm not a beekeeper, I guess, but we gave it a run. We'll see what the other hive looks like. here in the cul-de-sac food plot. I don't know how it got its name. I guess it was the end of a trail, but in any event, we got 4 trees in the dirt on the south side of the food plot. I put it here, although it'll be shaded. My intention is to move and get the chainsaw out. We're gonna push back another, I don't know, 30 yards and make this food plot a little bit bigger. Turn a little bit over towards the right. That's the game plan. But these trees go in easily, and I love the fact I got a little wet snow on the ground, provide a little moisture as I fill it in. So that works nice. I'm in the northeast corner of our white pine food plot, and as I walk in here and kind of assess the damage from the winter, boy, these plastic tree tubes I got, there's a couple of different brands, and these are not the right ones. The weather, they get brittle and they just crash into a zillion pieces. Wouldn't recommend them. Found another version that's more resistant to the sunlight. I think the sunlight kills them. But important finding as I'm in this northeast corner and I look in here. I don't know if the camera's gonna do it justice, but there is a legit deer path. As you just look how the travel pattern is right through the woods, pretty clearly see a game trail. Didn't know about this one. I mean, the deer out here for sure everywhere, but that path is pretty legit, going right into the food plot, so that's kind of neat. On the south side of the big white pine food plot, and I got 4 little soldiers right in a row. 4 apple trees right here. And I think tomorrow I'm gonna come out and frost seed. I'm gonna get some clover seed and broadcast spread it over all the food plots. And in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's gonna get warm during the day and then below freezing at night. And cracks and heaves will come to the ground, open and close, and will allow that seed to dump into those cracks. And a teeny tiny little size of a pinhead clover seeds. Plant it that way. It works pretty well. And so that'll be probably tomorrow's project, along with, frankly, putting some more of these pallets. I don't know if I have enough, but we're gonna try to work on getting some of these pallets erected around these trees before they get destroyed by our furry little friends.